Hi everyone, it's Pete Chang, head golf professional at Copper Hill Country Club. I thought we would do something a little bit different today. As I receive more video analysis requests, I thought it would be beneficial for amateurs to see the things that I look for when analyzing video. Especially given the situation that we're in, simply recording your swing on your phone or tablet can be a great tool in ensuring that the feel that you have in your swing matches the reel. I will start off by saying, though, that the idea of the universal perfect swing does not exist. So it's important not to be overly critical or stress over certain positions too much. The goal for me has always remained the same, whether I work with a Division One player or a beginner, and that is to provide a heightened sense of awareness to the player's total game, mainly mental, physical, and the last on that list being mechanics. I'm going to give a shout out to Michael Lumpinzinski from the David Gladson Golf Academy because he's the one that showed me how to do video. So, shout out to Mike. So let's get going. First off, please ensure that the video includes your entire body, ball, and enough room to see the club face at the top of the swing. I like seeing these two angles that you see in front of you, face on and down the line. I break down the swing into 8 sections. So in these 8 sections, I'm seeing how the body is moving, number one. And number two, I'm also checking for what the club face is doing. Ideally, we want the body and club face to be in harmony. But it's really about, there's a lot of different matchups that you can utilize to have an efficient golf swing. I will almost never go through all 8 sections or all 8 parts with a player, but it helps me organize and quickly understand this student's swing. So what you see in front of you right now is the first section, which is just the setup. I like to use the term GPS, grip, posture, stance. As we move on to the takeaway here, oh, too much. So I'm not overly concerned about this position here, and that the Hall of Fame has players that took it inside, on plane, and outside. I do encourage having a trigger to start the swing, though. As you can see here, my trigger is a little leg kick and a little forward press to get the swing started. Almost all great strikers have a trigger. So if you're very stagnant over the ball at setup, going into the second part of the swing, I would play around with shuffling your feet a little bit, maybe a little forward press with the hands. The great Harvey Penick, he used the swing the bucket analogy. So P3. So we're going to go halfway back here. So at this point in the swing, I like to see the arms and hands moving in rhythm with the trunk and hips. If the club face at this point in the swing is super open or shut, I will address that. But generally speaking, most amateurs will do better focusing on club face rather than have a huge pivot or, there's a lot of fancy terminology now that I think confuses a lot of amateurs. I do see at this point in the swing the club face being quite a bit open. So my club face is right around there. I see a lot of club faces pointing more this way, which is no good. So now we're going to take it to the L position here. So this is halfway back. Here I'm checking pivot. Many players who struggle with properly turning into the backswing can start to develop right here. The right hip bumping sideways or this right hip bumping that way is very common. And as we keep moving forward, so we're going to get to the top of the swing here. So once I get to the top of the swing, I'm simply checking to see has energy been efficiently gathered. Often I check for the left hand and the club face relationship here just to see that that is matched up. Again, here, there is no magic potion with the golf swing. Sometimes this can be open or a little closed. And now we move into the transition. For me, the transition is the one that I struggle with the most. In my opinion, it's the trickiest part of the swing. Often I see players starting the downswing, tugging on the grip with the hands, or the arms firing at the ball, creating the dreaded over the top. So these are two different swings I'm making here. The one on the left face on, this was actually a better swing. So you see that transition was a little bit better than on this one, because I'm definitely, before I get my legs and core engaged, I'm definitely tugging on that handle a little bit. So I don't love where I'm at here. The one on the left is a little bit better. So now we are going into impact. And this is the most important part, right? There could be some wacky looking positions, 1 through 6, but if we're able to deliver a square club face to the ball with efficient power, somewhat consistently, be very weary of the pro or the well-to-do friend that wants to tear apart your swing. Players like Jim Furyk, Kenny Perry, and the rising star Matthew Wolff comes to mind. There's a lot of different ways to do this, and it's really about matchups. And then we get all the way to the finish. And here are the eyes, chest, and belt buckle facing the target. Balance also comes to mind, but don't mistake holding the finish like a statue for balance. The finish will also vary greatly when we are playing on the course, depending on the lie, the stance, and the desired shot shape. Uh, Safe to say, though, that there's a lot of information, but with all this information, I will gather it and I will, at max, work on two things in the swing. Uh, two parts of the swing with a student in an hour long lesson. No more than two. Usually, I'll stick to one. So hopefully that was informative, and then we'll do a little. And I also do like to see it in in fluid motion. I'll watch it a few times, going back and forth here. Yeah. So I got a little work to do as well. But hopefully this was helpful, and good luck to you. Happy swingings.